Going to be over in a half an hour. Committee meeting of NSATs to order, please. Could we all stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States
of America and
the republic
for which it stands.
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Technology Director Marino, how are we doing on remote participation? How many people do we have?
We currently have 58 members total in the Zoom meeting.
58 people?
Yeah. If
Okay,
anybody
thank
is
you.
looking to make a public comment,
Yep.
please identify
When we
yourself
get-
through the
yep.
chat window.
Thank you very much. Lisa, can you take attendance, please?
Mr. DeLuna? Present. Mr. O'Brien? Here. Mr. Marquis? Here. Mr. Grant?
Here.
Ms. Gilman?
Here.
Mr. Lannon?
Here.
Mr. Hathaway?
Here.
Mr. Delaney?
Here.
Ms. Lateplo?
Here.
Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
She's going to be late joining
Okay.
us to the meeting. She had another commitment.
Mr. Perkins? Dr. Pacone?
Here.
Ms. McDonald?
Unfortunately, she had a business commitment this morning.
Mr. Sims? Mr. Bucco?
Here.
Mr. Strout?
Here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The public comment portion of our meeting, I just want to review the public comment rules, if we have them. 3 minutes per person, 20 minutes total, and it's got to be on agenda items. And the chair has got the right to stop it at any time if it goes off agenda items, etc. And we would like your name and address for the record. So at this time, the public comment session is open. I believe we have Debora O'Reilly, the president of the union, that wants to make a statement.
Yes.
Go right
Thank you very
ahead.
much.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Debora O'Reilly, and I just wanted to read a letter to you guys that the members of the union have put together addressing reopening of schools this fall. So, dear Dr. Riccio and members of the school committee, as you are all aware, both parents and educators have many concerns about opening our schools in the fall. Many are concerned for their own health condition or that of the people they care for, which may make a quick return to school buildings too risky. Like our colleagues across the state, Essex Tech's educators want nothing more to return to their classrooms in order to be with their students and provide them with the best possible education. However, that same concern for our students' well-being and education, which pushes us to return to the physical building, is also pulling us to stay home for them and for each other, at least for a little while longer. As much as it pains us, current scientific data and public health guidelines tell us that it is not possible to return without hurting our school community and the Commonwealth as a whole. The teaching staff at Essex Tech and our union urge you in the strongest possible terms to begin the 2020 school year under a fully remote learning model. It is important to note that the most current research discredits recent claims made by President Donald Trump, Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, and our Education Commissioner Riley. These outdated claims that children, particularly younger children, are less likely than adults to be infected with COVID-19, and if infected, children may be less likely to transmit COVID-19 to others, are inaccurate. A newly published report out of South Korea, released in July 20th edition of the CDC's Journal of Emergent Infectious Diseases, found that children between the ages of 10 and 19 have the ability to spread COVID-19 within a household at the same rate as adults. The more we understand about this virus, the clearer the dangers of reopening in-person learning become. Regardless of my own personal feelings and deep desires to return to in-person learning, I have to make data-driven decisions. I also have to speak for the HFT membership. I refer to our most recent survey of the membership, in which the majority of our members are concerned that our school environment will not be safe and feel that a remote learning plan, at least initially, is the way to start the school year. All of the discussions around school reopening seem to center on whether or not students are safe, but we also need to be considering the health and safety of every adult in the building as well. As a union, we are deeply committed to returning to in-person learning, but only when it is safe. The HFT membership thanks you for your time and looks forward to continuing these discussions in an open forum where educators, students, and parents can collaborate, plan, and initiate the safest way to reopen our schools. Sincerely, the HFT Executive Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment? Hearing nothing, I'm closing the public comment session. Thank you very much. At this time, Dr. Riccio, do you want to take it away?
Yes. As you know, we have a longtime employee of Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School that will be retiring on August 18th. This employee makes sure that food is provided for all school committee meetings, as well as the setup, the agenda items, and has worked actually successfully in the merger of our school districts coming together, both Peabody Vocational, North Shore Regional, and Essex Agricultural School. So at this time, I really can't say it any better without crying. So I am going to have Joe start the video for us that we have created for her. And in case you didn't know, it was Candy Levesque from Peabody.
Congratulations on your retirement, Brandy. We love you. We love you.
We can have a lot of time with you.
Time goes by so very fast. It's so hard to believe. It's time for your retirement. Time for your feeling free. You've worked so hard.
You've worked so very hard to make this dream come true, and no one deserves it any more than you. You've had some rough times. You've made it through them all. You've made the best of what life brings. And today you're standing tall. We wish you days of happiness, not filled with any strife. I hope that your retirement years are the best of your life. Congratulations on your retirement.
Hey, Candy. Congratulations, my friend. We wish we could be there to celebrate with you. You have to, excuse me, I have to write it down. I'm not tech savvy and this isn't my thing. But, so, wow, the people in that school are really going to miss you. You certainly found your niche when you started working there. From the early days of who let the dogs out, woof, 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 to putting your heart and soul in 23 years into what the school stood for. You deserve all the accolades and well wishes coming your way. Congratulations on your retirement. We love you, Candy.
Hey, Candy. If you're watching this, I guess it means that congratulations are in order. Congratulations for getting there. And I really do want to thank you for all the work and everything you put up with me doing while I was working there. You did really, really help me out quite a bit. And as Gail said, that school is really going to miss you. And again, congratulations. And maybe someday we'll have a professional development party with the retirees. So with that, again, congratulations and good luck.
Congratulations, Candy. We can't wait for you to join the club.
Congrats, Candy. Can't wait for you to come and spend every Wednesday with us.
Congrats, Candy. Miss you still every day. I hope to see you on Wednesdays. Once a month.
Hello, Candy. I'm sure you miss me. Can't wait till you retire. Best wishes.
Hello, Candace. I can't wait for you to retire either. It is awesome. And I'm not crazy.
Hi, Candy. So she is a little crazy. We all know that. But listen, congratulations, and we're looking forward to your company on Wednesdays.
Good luck, Candy. I missed working with you. We had so much fun together through the years. It was really great. But now you can go out with us, and it'll be even better.
Andy, we're really going to miss you here at Essex North Shore. You're the best. We'll have to have our lunch dates or our dinner dates, TBOs. Thanks for hiring me. You are the best, and I love you, Candy.
Candy, I want to wish you all the best in your retirement. Thank you so much for all that you've done for the district and many years before that at North Shore Tech as well. I guess Izzy Pop said it best. Take care. We'll miss you.
Hi, Candy. I want to thank you so much for all the help you have given me since I started working here. I will truly miss seeing you every day, but I know I will see you again when you get dragged back in here, even though you are going to be retiring. I'm so happy for you that you will get to spend time with your family, and they are very, very lucky to have you. Congratulations, Candy. You deserve the very best.
Hi, Candy. We just finished our caretaker reopening plan meeting and thought that we would say a farewell to you and thank you for all of your work that you've done. You actually did not leave much sooner than when our meeting ended. So I thank you for your long hours, for your institutional knowledge, and for you being you. I loved laughing with you and singing Candy Girl with you. And I'm going to miss that. So I hope you come back and visit us because we need you here.
Candy, congratulations on your retirement. Sorry, we're trying to pick who's going.
I'm going to miss laughing with you. I'm going to miss all the time we've had together, but I'm glad you're moving on. You're going to get to retire and get some nicer retirement clothes.
Hi, Candy.
I can't. Oh, you interrupted me.
I'm sorry. You go first.
All right. Thank you, Candy, for all your help. We're going to miss you when you retire. One of the first people I met when I came for my interview with Amy O'Malley at North Shore Tech. I think you might have written my first offer letter for my first job with there. And you've been there for many of my other interviews. So I appreciate all your support. I appreciate all the times you figured out my password for the DESI portal, which I can never remember, but I did write it down because I know you're going to be gone and you won't be able to give it to me anymore. But thank you for everything. We love you and we're going to miss you.
Hi, Candy. So this is Tom. I've known you for 10 years, which is pretty amazing considering I've only been at the school for 5. But I met you at North Shore years ago, and bottom line is, from my perspective, you always kept everything in perspective, which was helpful to me. I never liked to call the superintendent's office, and the bottom line is that you always made it. If I forgot a password, or I needed to get an appointment made, or I needed to get something sort of solved, you were always there with a smile to take care of it, and I greatly appreciate it. And you will be missed greatly. And good luck keeping up with Dick in retirement.
So to end it, Candy girl, you are my world. You look so sweet. You're a special treat. Candy, my candy, candy girl, candy. I'm gonna miss you. I love you. Thanks for everything. You're the best.
Thank you, Candy.
Bye there.
Thank you, Candy.
Take care.
Bye.
So as you leave your position, don't be a wreck. As you can see, there is life after the tech. Here, here. Here, here.
Join us, Candy. Join in the club.
Yes. Next meeting, next month, right?
Have you seen Candy?
Candy? Candy?
I don't know. She must be across the street. Candy! I forgot my keys again. Candy, I can't find my keys. Can you let me in? Thank you. Wait, how did you say it?
How did you say it?
Looks so sweet, she makes my heart just skip a beat.
And that's our Candy. We have just a little special treat. So a couple graduates possibly maybe here to say hello to you. We also have Chairman Strout to read off 2 citations.
Yeah, Candy, it's my pleasure to read a citation from the House of Representatives. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Candace Levesque in recognition of your 23 years of dedicated service to North Shore Agricultural and Technical High School. The entire membership extends its very best and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, given the 6th day of August, 2020 at the State House, Boston, Massachusetts by Robert A. DeLeo, Speaker of the House, offered by State Representative Thomas P. Walsh. And that's from the House of Representatives. We also have a proclamation from the State Senate. Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Candy Levesque in recognition of your retirement after 23 years of dedicated service to and leadership at Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to in a copy thereof, transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate by President of the Senate Karen Spilka, Clerk of the Senate Michael Hurley, offered by State Senator Joan Lovely, July 13, 2020. It should say today's date, but they didn't know that we revised our school committee meeting. Candy, I just want to say thank you for being a friend to everybody, all of the school committee, all of the superintendents that you've mentored over your years and principals that you have mentored over your years, your institutional history, and just your genuine kindness and loveliness. We're going to miss that, and we want to wish you the very best of luck.
So we got her a gift certificate to TJ Maxx, since she does not have to wear business gear anymore. She also likes to get her nails done. She goes with Christine, her daughter. So we got her a gift certificate to Mindy's in Salem. And she also gets her hair done close to a restaurant that she also likes. So while she's treating her family to Daniela's, she can hop next door to is it Francesca? Marcella does her hair and get her hair done. So obviously you know how we feel. So, and then buy cakes for all occasions. So we get to eat that later. All right.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Obviously, we went out of order a bit, so the treasurer's report, Kathleen McMahon. Marino here. Okay. Well, we'll get that treasurer's report next month, I guess. Approval of meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Discussion. Is there a motion to approve the amended minutes?
So moved.
Further discussion? Roll call vote, Lisa?
Mr. DeLuna,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Marquis,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Gilman,
Yes.
Mr. Lannon,
Yes.
Mr. Hathaway,
Yes.
Mr. Delaney, Mr. Delaney,
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo, LaTeplo, Ms. Shana,
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin Dunn, Mr. Perkins, Dr. Pacone,
Yes.
Ms. McDonald, Mr. Sims, Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, thank you, and it's a vote. Reports and communications, H4922, Dr. Riccio.
Thank you. As you know, approximately a year and a half ago, we worked on legislation that allowed us to increase the number of years that our school district can be in contract as it relates to renewable energy or sustainability sources from 3 years until 25 years. So we had some legislative breakfasts. Many of our school committee members were there, as well as our representatives and senators, and they supported this bill. Last year, it was put under education subcommittee, and we actually had 2 students that presented to the joint committee in education regarding this bill. Last week, it was actually approved by both the House and the Senate, and it is now sitting at the governor's office. What this will allow us to do is expand our sustainability functions in the future as it relates to renewable energy. So it could be solar, it could be wind power. We kept it fairly broad, depending on what those new resources are. We believe that it is good for us fiscally, but also from an educational standpoint, as we are looking to educate our students for obviously the next generation, which will include sustainability functions. Are there questions related to that? That is for informational purposes.
And I just want to commend Jamie O'Brien for his input at that legislative breakfast, because I think without his input, it would not have moved forward, to tell you the truth. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was just informational?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda, nomination for MASC President-elect. Beverly Griffin Dunn had another commitment this morning. She asked me if she was going to be late, could I move this on the agenda? And I said, absolutely. Right now, nobody has stepped forward to be the MASC President-elect. So there are 2 candidates that she's going to speak to us about. However, they need 5 school committees' votes to move either one of those 2 people forward to be the President-elect of the MASC. So we'll wait until Beverly can join us, hopefully before the end of the meeting. My brother's table?
Yes, this is again for informational purposes. In your packet, there is a letter from my brother's table. When we went into closure, we obviously had excess of food, and we donated that food to my brother's table. So this is a appreciation letter to our district for donating that excess food.
Chapter 74 Partnership Program?
Yes, as you know, we have been seeking to expand career and technical education in the Commonwealth, but also here at Essex North Shore. We had a partnership last year with Gloucester and Salem, and we are expanding it and Peabody, I apologize, and we are expanding it into Beverly this year. So this is a letter of acknowledgement and approval that we are able to move forward under Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and count those students towards Chapter 74 enrollment. And so we are able to now take in students under this partnership program, half-day program, to increase and expand career and technical education on the North Shore. The next piece is the partnership implementation grant. So we received $200,000. We actually wrote 2 grants simultaneously, $100,000 each, in order for us to gain the $200,000. Obviously, having 4 partnership school districts is more than other districts have. Greater Lawrence Technical School, for example, only partners with Lawrence High School. We are partnering with 4, 2 of which are gateway cities. And as a result, we were able to secure $200,000 in what they call seed money in order to get the program started. And we will continue to work with those programs. At this time, we have approximately 43 students from those communities that will take advantage of our partnership program.
Does anybody have any questions about that? No? The next item, North Shore Community College rental agreements for culinary arts and cosmetology. And this is after hours, after our kiddos have left the building. Dr. Riccio?
Yes. When Essex Agricultural Institute closed, North Shore Community College took over their programming and actually rented space in the old North Shore Tech building. In the spring, they had approached us because their lease was expiring and they were told that they would not be renewing that lease. They asked if we would be willing to partner with them. We've had several meetings. They've had several tours working with Joe St. Pierre and Bonnie Carr, our workforce development coordinator, and the teachers in the program and the CTE directors. And we would like to be, as a rental of our space lease for both cosmetology and culinary arts. And that lease is actually in there there's 2. So we did 2 separate ones. So we will be netting obviously additional revenue for the school district during hours that the kids are not in session.
So the fall semester would be $48,750 and the spring semester would be $48,750, which really takes the sting out of the daycare
reduction
that left, that went out of business. It helps.
In addition to that, it helps with our students, because if our students are short any hours, for example, in cosmetology, in order for them to sit for their license, they have to accumulate 1,000 hours. And if the kids are short those hours, they actually have to purchase the hours at a proprietary school in order to hit those numbers. So we're hopeful, and we're working with North Shore Community College where they could come back at night to secure the rest of those hours. In addition to that, it increases our opportunity to partner with North Shore Community College's culinary arts program. They have an associate's degree program there. And so it would be a nice transition for some of our students, and an affordable transition for them to just come back to school, much like our electrical students and our plumbing students in the evening upon graduation.
And so for the cosmetology, it'd be $26,250 for the fall and $26,250 for the spring. So we're talking $150,000 combined, which helps.
And so what we're asking today, in addition to these contracts for signature, is that we're able to lease that space.
So is there a motion on the floor to have the superintendent and the chair sign the lease agreements?
A second.
Discussion? Discussion? Frank?
Further down in the agenda, we have license. How is the license related to the lease?
It's the same. It's just the name of the document that was put on there. So under that, I'm going to request, it came up with our attorney, that in the attorney questioned who has the right to actually sign a lease. And so I will be asking in in their documents, it says the chairperson of the school committee. So any leases or contracts. So it's a separate, it's the same document, but in my superintendent report, I'm just going to be asking that I'm able to sign contracts.
I guess my concern is this difference between a license and a lease. A lease gives a person a right to the premises that's only revocable at the terms of the provided in the lease. A license is revocable at will. So I'm not sure if we're calling the documents correctly.
So all of my contracts at the fairground,
Okay.
I changed them to make them a license, because any license revocable for whatever reason gives you a lot more leeway if you need to get out of the agreement. It's just a terminology, but legally it makes a lot of difference.
So to be clear, because it says revocable license agreement, we did have this run through our school attorney. So is that something that we would want? Or I guess
Well, you could revoke the license, but
Right.
you still have a lease.
so this, if you look at the, just looking at the document now, I apologize. So it actually says license in the document. So I think just the,
Well, I think they should be run by schools council.
we did run it by our legal, and this is what this, so if you look at the document in board docs, as the attachment, it says revocable license agreement. It does not say lease. Do you want me to? Joe, are you able to share the screen and just, yes, please. Thank you. We're going to pull it up on the screen just so that we have it for those that can't get on. Just the way that it was headed.
It's going to become a clouded area where they'll play the game back and forth.
On the top of both leases, it says revocable license agreement.
Right, but it doesn't down in the paper.
So it says rent. So if you look at, or you're talking about the agenda item then?
Yeah, it's on the agenda, it's a lease. The document itself is a license.
Is a license. And that's something that we can, I can actually edit that right now and just change it from rental agreement, because that is an internal header that we put in.
Yep.
And that's a fairly simple, and I'll just type it in as revocable license. Yeah, no, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so both of the documents do say revocable license.
Yep.
And they were vetted definitely through our school attorney.
So you've just X'd out rental agreement and put in revocable
Yeah,
license.
So we all understand it's a license and not a lease.
Right.
Yep. Joe, if you could please refresh that page and share the page again, just so that it shows the revision to the header on the agenda. I just changed it. So you might have to refresh the page.
So is there a motion to have the superintendent and the chair sign the revocable license agreements for North Shore Community College? Further discussion?
I just have a question.
Sure.
For Heidi. Heidi, the income from these rental agreements goes into the rental income account?
It does.
And what will that money be used for through the year?
Well, there's a variety of different items. As you know, Bonnie Carr's position, we removed out of the operational budget. And so part of her salary will be taken from any workforce development training, either grants or revenue that we take in. but it goes into the general fund unless there are situations. Some of the money is for maintenance. So if there's obviously facilities, we need to do the cleaning for that. So we will obviously use some of those funds for that, but it does go into a general revenue account.
And we'll see evidence of that
In your
Senate
report.
warrant.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so any additional costs. So for example, they're paying for any extra storage that they need because everything needs to be separate. So in culinary, for example, they're not going to be using our supplies. They'll have their own set of supplies. What they will be using is the equipment. So there'll be some sort of repair and maintenance of equipment that would be needed because obviously the more often you use it, the more it gets used, but that's similar to any of our other programs like advanced manufacturing. But yes, that will be fully documented in purchase orders and line accounts, the line budget items.
Thank you.
Further discussion or questions? Lisa, roll call vote.
Mr. DeLuna,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Marquis,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yeah.
Ms. Gilman,
Yes.
Mr. Lannon,
Yes.
Mr. Hathaway,
Yes.
Mr. Delaney,
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Ms. Griffin Dunn, Mr. Perkins,
Yes.
Dr. Pacone, Mr. Sims, Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, thank you, and it's a vote. The next agenda item, stabilization fund allocation, Gallant Hall. Dr. Riccio.
Yes, thank you. And I also, on the previous, I want to thank Attorney DeLuna because this is all new, you know, the legal, and to have such great school committee members that know the legal aspect of it is very helpful, even in just the terminology. So thank you. For the stabilization fund allocation, as you know, we hit COVID and we had to develop 3 plans, which our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. O'Toole, and Principal Donnelly will be reviewing shortly. In addition to that, we have the Gallant Hall project, and looking at last April and May when we talked about it, there were 6 classrooms that we can renovate at Gallant Hall to be able to use. We actually have used a lot of the money in grant funding, but now we're at the point of there's a couple leftover things to get done in order to make it kind of turnkey for September. And so we are requesting a transfer. I know we typically do this in finance, but knowing the current situation and the circumstances, we are requesting $50,000, up to $50,000 to be spent to complete the Gallant Hall renovations in order to make it ready for the fall when the students return.
So is there a motion to approve a maximum of $50,000 to complete Gallant Hall before the kiddos come back to school? Second, discussion. Roll call vote.
Mr. DeLuna,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Marquis,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Gilman,
Yes.
Mr. Lannon,
Yes.
Hathaway,
We're still gonna come this way.
Mr. Delaney,
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo,
Yes.
Ms. Shana,
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin Dunn,
See, this way. I can't wait. Let go. Yeah. Just wait till you're over here and then we'll open it.
I'll refrain. I'll refrain from voting.
you gonna abstain on that one?
Yes, abstain.
Mr. Perkins, Dr. Pacone, Mr. Sims, Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, and it's a vote. Thank you very much. Before we go back to Beverly's MASC nomination okay, we waited for you. Let's just finish up here with Dr. Riccio's items. Letter H, administrators and individually contracted employees salary adjustment for FY 2021.
We, unfortunately, in April and May, we discussed salaries of our contracted employees. This includes some clerical that are on separate contracts, as well as others that are on separate contracts, including the administrators. However, we did not officially vote for any of their pay raises. So we are looking at more, most often they're 2%. There are a couple that are a little bit higher to be in line with the AFSCME contract. So as you know, AFSCME has also a clerical unit. So there are a couple that are not within the clerical unit, but should be at the similar rate to what was negotiated with the contract. And there are a couple others. So most are at 2%.
So is there a motion to approve the administrators and individually contracted employees salary adjustments for FY 2021?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion, please. Jamie? Yeah. Yes.
It's a formality so that we can actually move them into their contract.
We did. Wayne?
How many people?
So you're looking at every administrator, which is approximately 20, and then there are about 5 other that are non-contracted, or that are on a separate contract. Mm-hmm.
Further discussion? Lisa, roll call vote.
Mr. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien? Mr. Marquis?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Lannon?
Yes.
Mr. Hathaway? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo? Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pacone?
Yes.
Mr. Sims? Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, thank you, and it's a vote. 5-year lease for purchase of 3 new buses. Dr. Riccio.
Thank you. So this was also approved by the budget process. We do lease our buses, so we are seeking approval to sign into agreement with Anderson Blue Bus or Bluebird for the lease of 3 new buses, which obviously we will need with the current transportation guidelines that have been set forth by the state.
So I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval for the purchase of the VE H98 state contract and to enter into a 5-year lease purchase agreement with annual payments not to exceed $59,800 with Anderson Bluebird Bus Sales of East Providence, Rhode Island.
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Go right ahead, Beth.
So the question was, can it be covered under COVID money? Because it was in the regular budget that was already approved, it's called supplanting. So what we would be looking at, although in writing some of the grant, we did put approximately $50,000 into the grant, the COVID grant for transportation.
What happened?
Mr. Grant,
There we go. What happened?
Mr. Grant, Ms. Gilman,
Yes.
Mr. Landon,
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Delaney,
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo, Ms. LaTeplo, Ms. Shana, Mrs. Griffin Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Perkins,
Yes.
Dr. Pacone, Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, and it's a vote. Thank you very much. The next agenda item, rescheduling the December 10th, 2020 District Policy and Regular School Committee meeting. The reason is Hanukkah starts at sundown that night, so we want to be sensitive to everybody's needs. So, Dr. Riccio?
I still don't have internet.
So I don't know if everyone can look at their calendars for either the week before or the week after. So the 3rd or the 17th.
I won't be here the week before.
Finance is that Wednesday on the 2nd. If we went to the 3rd, it's the day after the finance. If we go to the 17th, it gets closer to the holidays.
Well, the 3rd.
Does a 3rd work? Everyone? No.
December 3rd, does that work for most people?
You want to do a thumbs up?
Thumbs
See
up?
Val, thumbs up.
All righty. Thank you. It's a beautiful big screen.
Want to be remote.
and she was willing to come back and fill the president-elect position. And she's actually a member of the Northeast Metro Vocational School Committee. She has been on that committee for 23 years. She has been a member of the MASC board, serving as a vice chair of the vocational school division, and working her way up to chairman of that division, filling the other positions on the board. The second candidate is Andrea Wadsworth. Andrea is from Lee, way out in the Berkshires. She is a 10-year member of the Lee School Committee. She serves as their chairperson. She is also the chair of Division 6, which is the Berkshire County. She is working on numerous commissions, the Commission on the Status of Women, Commission on Transportation, which involves a lot with regional schools, especially in that division. And she too has served in other capacities with MASC and is looking for our nomination as well. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has those.
Are we nominating one or the other?
We can nominate both, and then they will be able to appoint the assembled delegates.
Fairer, personally.
I'll be honest, I know both of them. It would be difficult for me to recommend one or the other. They each have very good qualifications for this, and they are extremely energetic. They're very hardworking. They've done a lot of good work for MASC, and they bring to the table very, very helpful experiences and backgrounds.
Well, we certainly want a president-elect of the MASC, so I would have no problem whatsoever. This is just my personal opinion with this committee nominating both and let the delegates at the conference determine who it would be. So, is further discussion? Is further discussion? Lisa, roll call vote, please.
Mark?
Yes.
Excuse me, point of order. I can't hear anything except for when you and Heidi speak. So can you just summarize quickly what we're voting for, who the candidates are? Because I don't want to vote if I can't hear it.
There we go. I'm wondering if my microphone was on.
Now I can hear Beverly loud and clear. Thank you.
Oh, good. In Peabody, they always give me the microphone that doesn't work. I don't know. They're sending a message. What I've brought before you are two candidates who would like to serve as president-elect for MASC. This year, no one had stepped forward to run for that position. The election will take place in the fall at the annual conference during the delegate assembly. And under the bylaws of MASC, anyone who would like to run basically from the floor. So two people stepped forward and have asked for our nomination. In order to be nominated, they have to obtain the nominations of at least 5 school committees across the state. And the two candidates are Debora Davis, who is currently the president of MASC. Her term will be ending, and she would like to serve again as president-elect. Deb is a 23 or 26-year member of the Metro North Vocational School. She has been chairperson of the vocational division, served in various positions as a leader with MASC as secretary, treasurer, vice chairman, and worked her way up to president. And she brings a great deal of experience and really great background to this position. And the second candidate is Andrea Wadsworth. Andrea has been a 10-year member of the Lee School Committee. She serves as chair of the Lee Committee. She's involved in a lot of organizations out in the Berkshires. Specifically, one that I think is very, very helpful is a transportation committee, especially in light of regional transportation. She too is and she would also like to ask for a nomination. And what I have for you about them, and we would be nominating. The selection would take place at an election during the Delegate Assembly Conference. So Mark made a motion to put forward the nomination of both of these candidates, and it was seconded by, was it Wayne? And I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has those.
We just think it would be fairer to nominate both and let the delegates at the conference decide.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah,
So
thank
we
you.
have a roll call vote.
Mr. Grant,
Here, aye, yes.
Ms. Gilman,
Yes.
Mr. Lannon, Mr. Hathaway, Mr. Delaney,
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo,
Yes.
Ms. Shana, Ms. Shana, Mrs. Griffin Dunn, Mr. Perkins, Dr. Pacone, Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, and it's a vote, and I think that'll be very helpful as far as the MASC is concerned. You're very welcome. Thank you for your input and your leadership, the MASC. Superintendent Director report, back to school plan. This, I just want to commend the administration again. They did a wonderful job the other night. They presented slides on the virtual meeting. 500 people could attend the meeting. As I said before, Dr. Riccio answered 80 individual questions to the parents, etc. Dr. O'Toole, Principal Donnelly, everybody else that was involved in the meeting. I commend you all. So take it away.
Thank you, Chairman Strout. I am going to introduce Principal Donnelly and Assistant Superintendent Dr. O'Toole. I will say that the writing of this plan was done with a lot of people. So we have, as you know, we presented 5 action teams to you back in April and May to review a reopening plan and what are needed. Action teams have staff members on it. Originally, there was a member of an HFT on each of the action teams. 2 days ago, we sought additional team members as we move closer to the reopening of schools, and upon the decision of what our plan selection will be this evening or this morning with you, we recognize that we will need additional staff on those action teams. And I'm going to allow, again, Dr. O'Toole and Principal Donnelly to review the planning process with you and our recommendation.
Thanks, Dr. Riccio. So behind you'll see the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to sort of walk you through. Can everybody hear me? I got bumped off the internet. Okay, good. So basically, in terms of an overview, what we had was the Department of Education issued Department of Elementary and Secondary Education issued a request for a school reopening plan from the 332 Massachusetts public school districts back on June 25th. Commissioner O'Reilly met live with the superintendents and assistant superintendents and others, directors to talk about that plan and what we would need to do. He's been saying, along with the governor, since around May, that think of the possibility of half of the school reopening. So that's not something new that he suddenly hit us with. In terms of the process that we went through, the next step in that process was
on the official end was that we had to put together a preliminary plan that was going to be shared with DESE on July 31st, and then school committee review, which is happening today, and approval. And then that plan gets finalized, whatever that plan ends up being, and we move it on to DESE by August 10th, which is why we're meeting today on August 6th. So that was the deadline that they had set. And again, it's all predicated on local approval. In terms of the school reopening timeline, which is the next slide, there were a series of surveys and virtual meetings. About all we did was take time off on July 4th for a hamburger and hot dog, and then we were right back at it. So we started with a survey, an end-of-year survey on technology that involved technology as well with the staff, based on what we had learned when we were fully emergency remote. Remember, everybody was remote. And so everybody, at least in terms of teachers and guidance and students and most administrators. And then on July 13th, we issued a transportation survey that went out to families. July 14th, a school reopening survey that went to staff. July 21st, a return to school survey to staff and family. July 29th, we had a staff meeting with staff to kind of discuss this out loud. We had multiple members, hundreds of people sort of involved. And on July 30th, the school reopening plan, sorry, it should be the July 31st, the school reopening plan. Actually, no, we met and went over the school reopening plan with administrators and staff. And then we've had multiple meetings with what we call the school reopening action team as well. So those meetings have been happening as well on a weekly or every other week basis. And I think it's actually been weekly now. We just met yesterday as well. So basically we've gone through a series of surveys to try and make sure that we were in touch with the stakeholders, having conversations about comfort level and with the plans themselves as we evolve these plans. Next slide is, so DESE asked for a full return to school model following new safety guidelines. If I could put an asterisk next to that, I would. I'm going to read for you the language that they had. They wanted a hybrid learning model, and they wanted a full remote learning model. And in terms of the first plan, which is the new safety guidelines for the full return to school model, what they've said is they want an in-person learning with new safety requirements for the fall. And they basically said that in this model, all students return to in-person to school settings that are appropriately modified to accommodate the health and safety requirements for in-person learning. And for us to do that, you'd have to basically run school twice with 2 sets of teachers, 6 to 8 lunches. The second lunch would be dinner, and we'd have to do deep cleaning in between. So basically, to do that kind of a model, it's beyond the feasibility. Now, why did they ask for it? I think they're trying to get us to think on the day eventually that we have a vaccine, or the COVID goes away, however this happens, that what would it be like if we were to come back? So I think it was part of a continuum. They didn't want us just to jump in and do a hybrid. So when we looked at that full return model, the best we could come up with is the next one, which is hybrid 1. And that model was about a 3/4 return to school, 2 grades in CTE are on campus live with teachers, and 1 grade in academics is on campus, and 1 grade in academics is remote. And so basically the issue with that was that there were issues and concerns around teaching staff, around sort of distancing, how many students in the building, where are the kids in the room, how are they seated, and moving around the hallway. It was a lot of pieces in the school and a lot of people that were moving. And there was also some transportation issues that we had for this. You're going to see a schematic in a little while that has 25 members on a typically sized school bus. And so it was the issue, and that would sort of force us into a staggered bus run to be able to do it. So that was the issue with hybrid 1. It sort of brought back 3/4 of the students. It isn't quite officially meeting the criteria of the full return because we can't get all students back. But because we tried to do that and look at what that looked like, we now had essentially hybrid 1. So now I'm going to hand off to Principal Donnelly, who's going to talk about hybrid 2.
So although DESE asked for 1 hybrid model, we came up with 3 different versions and then put these out to be looked at by administration and by staff to have them survey what model seemed to be best. So our hybrid 2 model has basically half of the students in the school building. We would have 1 grade in CTE and 1 grade in academics each day. And we would alternate every other day. So on the day that students were not in school for on-campus learning, they would be doing remote learning at home. The whole with this model is it provides a little bit more structure and accountability for students rather than sort of a week on, week off type schedule. This will allow students to have to come into the building every other day, regular contact with their teachers, a regular schedule of getting up in the morning. We found that lots of kids stayed up all night and slept all day during our spring remote model, and that caused issues with communication between students and teachers. This will provide a little bit more structure. We would also require that this is synchronous, so students would need to be online with their teachers and classmates at the same time. So again, beefing up that accountability piece. It also provides for that hands-on on-campus learning for CTE, which was a big piece lost in the spring. Our hybrid 3 model also allows for half of the students to be attending school in person while half are learning remotely. But this, instead of the 1 academic and 1 CTE grade, we would have 2 grades in CTE at the same time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So 4 days out of 5. On Wednesday, they would stay home and do remote CTE, and it would allow for deep cleaning of the CTE areas on Wednesday. On the flip side, for academics, we would have 2 grades doing remote academics Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and those 2 grades would come into the building on Wednesday to do academics here on campus. Challenges with this model are that we have twice as many kids now in the CTE programs and twice as many students in the academic classrooms on the academic days. So in terms of social distancing, teachers have asked for 6 feet between students in classrooms, 6 feet between desks. DESE has offered that we can work between 3 feet and 6 feet, but teachers have asked for us to try to maintain that 6-foot distance. That is not possible if we have all 2 grades in academics at the same time. So some challenges with hybrid model 3.
And then, am I up?
Yep, you're up.
Sorry. And then for full remote, that model again would be synchronous. What we learned again, as Ms. Donnelly mentioned, is that when we would the emergency remote for trimester 3, that the day shifted later, students were posting late, we were getting stuff, it made it really complicated. And so we would make the learning synchronous. And also, since we were required to attend class remotely, we kind of rethink what attendance means. So for a student to be given attendance on a credit for attendance on a given day, would have to be live with the teacher. They would have video on, and their audio, that's a mute, that's on and off as needed. But there was this idea that somehow we need all students would this period would be a reduced period. Instead of a 70-minute block, we'd do like a 45-minute in length block with some time for teacher instruction and some time for teacher guided student work. So there would be a back and forth there. But we would have to think differently again about the use of time in the full remote model as we did with in the trimester 3 emergency full remote model. And the other thing is that in terms of the full remote model that we're proposing, that teachers would come to school to teach from school. So I just want to point that out. Those that would be remote would be the students, and the teachers would come to school, work day, and basically kind of work from here to broadcast out their lessons.
And just if we go into a full remote model, it would be for students and teachers.
Sort of the full remote. And then there's a schedule, 45 minutes in length instead of 70. And what we recaptured then is the other thing that in our feedback from teachers that they wanted in the full emergency remote trimester 3 at the end of the 2021 school year, 2019-20 school year. They'd like some common planning time. We do some professional development as well on what. And then also we would try to give them time for office hours and prep time as well for, basically other time. So we would recapture some of that time, which would expand out the 70 minutes right now they have for prep. And some of it would be common planning, some of it would be teacher prep, and then there would be office hours that we'd post as well, and then Wednesday PD. So we'd find different uses for this time at the beginning and at the end of the day. That would facilitate a little bit of a later start. These are adolescents, and on a certain level, it lets the day end with anybody that had a question that came up and didn't want to, it didn't come up in class or occurred afterwards, to kind of go back to the teacher and say, let me ask the following question of you live. Many teachers, I know, when they held their office hours or were live with students when we were the full emergency remote, had kids come to them and ask questions. 2 or 3, not lots.
So just to go back to the hybrid 2 schedule for a minute, this, and Dr. Riccio will speak to this in a second, but this is really the model that we run at this point. Just to show you sort of the schedule of the days, remember that our students work on a Wednesday to Tuesday schedule. So Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, grade 9 and 12 would be on campus. Grade 9 for academics, grade 12 for CTE, and 10 and 11th graders would be at home, 11th for academics, and 12 for remote. And then we would flip that on Thursday, and on Monday. And then for the second half of our 10-day cycle, 9th graders would be on campus, again, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday for CTE. 12th graders would be at home, and that would switch on Thursday. So for the first semester, grades 9 would be on campus 3 days out of 5, 10 and 11 will be on campus 2 days out of 5, and we will switch that at the second semester so that they have an equal number across the whole school year. Now, we don't know exactly what will happen as the months move on, but if we have to be hybrid all year, it will allow for an equal number of days both in school and our facilities staff. We took some photos of some of the classrooms. So this is a classroom that we set up yesterday. These desks are 6 feet apart. And there's also about 10 feet from the edge of the whiteboard to the first desk. Lots of space for the to move about and kind of provide instruction. There's same room, just a different view. We also
Mark, can I ask a question?
When it's back up.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay. Should I keep going, or is there a question?
Go ahead.
So my question is, I understand that on the CTE part of it, but if they go to that right away in September, can go out on the workforce, that eliminates less people in the school building. Can they get credit for that as long as their program is somewhat tied, so they wouldn't actually have to come except for their academic side?
As Dr. Riccio stated to all the parents the other night, all the internships and co-ops are in place right now and will continue.
Is there an opportunity, though, to increase that would also lower the population here at the school?
Yes, so we are working with the state. Yesterday, the state came out with additional guidance for dental, so our dental assistants are not able to work at this time. But when they do, they would return to work, and the reason is that they're not certified dental assistants yet, and they can't get that certification until they're 18. However, we have approximately right now 55 students that are on cooperative education for the summer, because it runs through year round, and our school cooperative education coordinator has been working at getting additional students. So yes, if they are on co-op, it would reduce the number of students, and that actually is why one of the reasons why we took the 9th graders, which is our largest class size, and the 12th graders. So typically, actually here, it's a 9-11 in one week and a 10-12 in the other week. For this purpose of this plan, we switched it to 9 and 12 with the anticipation that there'll be more 12th graders out, working on campus. Another reason why we have the 9th graders in shop 3 days a week for the first semester, as opposed to the 2, is because of the exploratory process. We need to make sure that we can get through that exploratory process and give them ample time in their CTE area to be able to experience what that program is, because they typically choose right before they enter second semester.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have actually purchased a variety of different types of face coverings. And I say face coverings because if they're working outside, they typically would wear a gaiter style that goes around their neck. So that's not considered a mask. It's called a face covering. So we have purchased 1,000 gaiters that are in safety yellow and safety green. We have also purchased 3,000 white cotton masks. We have also purchased an additional 1,000 branded masks with our brand on it. And we have purchased 10,000 disposable masks that you have right there at this time.
Most people at graduation had the branded masks on Hawk.
Now they purchase those?
We provided them for them.
They look sharp. Go ahead.
Students who are on campus during the day, will they have their forehead scanned as they come in the building?
At this time, the CDC does not recommend, at this time, it does not mean that it's not going to change, but we are trying to follow the CDC guidelines as well as the state guidelines, and at this time, it does not recommend that we are scanning anyone, and that's for kind of any business, I believe, but it is not recommended that we scan. However, 2 nights ago, there was some talk about it. It just hasn't been changed at this time.
And one other question, cafeteria, are you going to be able
We're going to get to that.
Oh, you're coming to that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's in the presentation.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
So we're gonna go back, because I think when we
Right.
looped out.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Right, we lost internet right when I started the picture, so I'll just
Okey-doke.
run through these again very quickly. So once again, this is a photo classroom that we set up recently with the help of our facilities department. So these desks are 6 feet apart, and then there's 10 feet from the edge of the whiteboard to the front of the first desk to allow room for the teacher to safely move about the room or the front of the room. There's just one more shot of the same classroom. And then in the lobby, when people came in today, you could see lots of signage related to COVID and social distancing that we had purchased through White Light Visual. They also allowed us to print some of their materials here at school. So Joe Marino and John Mejia, our graphics instructor, have been printing floor signs for reminders about the 6-foot social distancing and in hallways for students to keep to the right as they pass from class to class. We also have sanitation stations, which is the center picture, set up in each classroom, which contain paper towels, sanitizing solution for the desks, hand sanitizer. So each classroom will be set up with whatever they need to clean that room in between classes. We've also purchased 16 hand washing stations that are portable. So these will go into CTE programs that don't have their own sinks and also can be used throughout the building where we need additional hand washing locations for students and staff.
And Shannon, just as a point of reference, there are other hand washing stations that are available, but these are approved by the Department of Public Health for commercial use.
So in terms of school bus configuration, all staff and students on the bus, regardless of age, are required to wear masks. Distancing no more than one student per bench, alternating sides in each row, which allows the student to maintain approximately 3 feet of physical distance. Children from the same household may sit together. Ventilation, they want school bus windows open at all times unless extreme weather. And the seat assignments, the students should be assigned to a particular seat so that when you get on the bus, you've got your seat, you've got to go to it. So that's going to be sort of these are the norms or the regulations that they want us to follow for the guidelines for student bus configuration. And then the last one is a schematic of what a typical school bus looks like. And what you have here is 25 students, roughly, can fit on the bus. They leave the bench behind the bus driver open, and they suggest if you don't have a bus monitor, and we do not, that basically the hand sanitizing station would be in place there. And the reason why is they want that student in the second row behind the hand sanitizing station row to be 6 feet from the bus driver. So there's a 6-foot rule and a 3-foot rule happening on all regular sized buses.
So typically there'd be 50 or so students on a bus, correct?
About 55.
So, okay, 55. So having 25 students in the bus would avail itself nicely of the option 2.
The hybrid model.
The
correct.
hybrid model.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to put additional buses on?
Well, remember, only half of our student population in the hybrid model will be. So we're working with Kathy Russo. We have also reached out to C&J Transportation. As you know, they're not doing many runs to the airport anymore. So that's that large bus transportation company. So we're working with them and other transportation companies just to determine what our need is. But until we have the actual plan approved, do we able to really meet care plans?
So basically, you'll end up changing bus routes based on, if you get 28 kids that normally would have gone on that bus, you just have to juggle your routes so you stay within the 25.
That is correct.
Because all your buses aren't full all the time anyways, even on a normal year, right?
Yeah, it really just depends.
Depends on the area.
Yeah, so Salem and Peabody obviously are our largest communities, sending communities, Danvers and Beverly, so in Gloucester. But Peabody and Salem, so we'll be doing multiple runs. Luckily, they're a lot closer, than Gloucester, so we'll be coordinating that.
Dr. Riccio, can you explain to the committee exactly the same way you explained to the parents about cafeterias? How many we have, et cetera, and shops and whatever?
Sure. So depending on what our plan is, and gets approved as our lunches and mask breaks are, but as of right now, we plan not to open the media center for service, but to use it for mask breaks as well as lunch services. And they will be using these tables. These tables are actually 6 feet. So last year we had purchased 80 of them anyway for meeting space. And so the media center will be set up for mask breaks as well as lunch service. We have the 3 cafeterias And then obviously this gymnasium determining physical education, because as of right now, we're unsure what physical education will actually mean in the Commonwealth and what the abilities or requirements are. We are also working with our cafeteria. We have a point of sale system for the cafeteria, and they have created an app where students can order their meals by 7:30 in the morning for lunch, and then the cafeteria gets them, much like an online ordering system, and they will be bagged up with their names on them, ready to go, so that delivery will be done in that type of a situation. As long if the student brings their own lunch, obviously they would eat their own lunch, but for meal purposes. That avoids any backup or line considerations that we may have in the cafeterias. So they will pre-order their lunch at that time.
You also mentioned that there are classrooms near the shops, adjacent to the shops, that might be used as well, depending upon what model we choose.
Yes, thank you. So depending on what model we choose, you know that we have a fairly large campus. So we have a lot of outer buildings. So for example, if a student is in carpentry, there's no need for them to enter into the main entrance door, because they actually then have to exit another door to get to an outer building, which is at another complete separate building. So students would be entering through multiple different entrance points. So we wouldn't have that crowd that you would see in the morning time of students entering the main entrance. And so that would also go for lunch. Depending again on the plan, we would make that determination as far as less travel as possible for our students. So you hear a lot about cohorts in comprehensive schools. Our kids are already cohorted on the shop side by nature of what shop they're in. So they would actually be closer to their shop. So when we do the meal deliveries, it would be delivered, you know, to not necessarily their program area, but a location near their program area for some of them. We also have an order in for a 40 by 100 tent, and that will also be used for services, whether it's a mask break. It will have all of the sides on it, and we can have it heated if the need comes for us to actually heat the tent.
Dr. Achio, this is Alice. I was actually able to join in, but I had a quick question on the parking for the students. So obviously, if depending on which model we go with in terms of when the students are in, if there's the ability for 11th and 12th graders to share parking spaces, would that then alleviate some of the need to have 11th and 12th graders on the bus if they could then drive in, so there'll be more parking spaces available?
Yes, we are working with our assistant principals. As you notice, if you're a parent, I know you are Alice, but if there are others that are on, we actually, the assistant principals sent out the transportation or the driving and parking survey much earlier this year, so we could get an idea of how many people would be parking on campus. And it would be dependent on how many spots we have based on obviously what the location of the tent would be. For travel purposes, but we would be working with our with Joe St. Pierre. As you know, we did take down the McNamara O'Shea building. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's equipped for parking at this time, but we may be able to gain additional parking as a result of an empty space.
Frank?
You went through the purchases of masks for the school, but isn't it contrary to the policy? It says the student's mask or face covering is to be provided by the student's family. Staff members are responsible for providing their own face coverings.
So the question, I'm just going to repeat the question because I guess the audience can't hear all of the questions that are being asked, but it's wondering if the policy goes against, so the mask or face covering policy go against. We did not say that we were going to provide them in the policy because it leaves us open to if we described it last week, but masks are a very personal thing. If you've noticed, there are some people that have different shapes of faces and different comfort levels and different types of masks. So we did have that they would be provided by the families. However, we are going to provide that first round. And then if a child forgets a mask, each one of those sanitation stations that you saw in the classroom will have a pack of masks in case a student forgets one.
And in the virtual parent meeting the other night, Dr. Riccio did recommend to the parents that the kiddos bring their own masks because they are of a personal nature, as she said. Any other questions? So Dr. Riccio, is there anything you want to say about what you're... Oh, Val, hello.
Yeah, so the audio has been really difficult, and I'm really trying to focus on the presentation, which is very thorough. So is there a recommendation of one of these plans that is coming forward for us to consider? Because we've heard all of them, and I just, or is it just the repertoire of everything that we're presenting to the state at this point? I'd love you to clarify.
No, I just before you came on, I asked Dr. Riccio to recommend what she wants. Okay? Go ahead, Dr. Riccio, what option?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, so I will actually, before I give the option, I want to make it very clear that we continue to follow the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, as well as Governor Baker's guidance. And that is the guidance that we're provided. Many people would like the state to make the decision for the local districts. However, being a locally controlled state, they are leaving it up to the local districts. I also want to point out that whatever plan I recommend today and whatever plan is approved today may change based on Governor Baker's as well as Commissioner Riley's guidance. So at this time, I would like to recommend hybrid B or hybrid 2 as it relates to our model for reopening the 170 days schools. So the first 10 days of school will actually be for training for staff, and then the 170 days of learning for students. Again, this may change. In fact, I have a conference call that was scheduled with Commissioner Riley this afternoon. And so any vote that takes place, if we could put inside the vote, you know, pending any additional guidance that the state of Massachusetts puts on.
And also, I'd like to add, as Dr. Riccio said to the parents the other day, Essex Tech, or NSATS, whatever you want to call it, is unlike other secondary schools in that we have 1 million square feet, we have 125 to 130 acres. We basically have 2 campuses now with available classrooms across the street. We have extra large shop spaces with classrooms adjacent to the shop spaces. But one thing I want to call to the committee's attention is that you all got, there was a survey or something from the kids. Did you all get that yesterday in your email?
Yes.
Okay, petition. And I know for a fact that a lot of the kids, as far as their CTE, academic is very, I don't want to say it's simple, but academic remote is straightforward. CTE, your shops, it's very hard. There are some kids that made comments in that petition that, you know, after the first week of their CTE remote instruction, basically they felt lost. So we're different from other secondary schools in that we are a vocational school, and we've got a lot of things going for us as far as, you know, half of the kids being here and half of the kids doing it remote and then switching semester to semester. So that's all I want to say. All right.
Mark?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So before we vote, would you mind putting the hybrid learning model 2 up on the screen again so we can just be reminded of what that is? Because of the hearing issues, if we can visualize it, it would be helpful for those of us who are dialed in remotely. I'd appreciate.
Absolutely. It's 9th and 12th, 3 days a week, correct? 9th and 12th, 3 days a week, and then 10 and 11, 2 days a week, and then in semester 2, it switches. For a hybrid model, it really, in my opinion, as an educator, it really makes sense.
We have also, as a case in point, when we met with the staff last week to review the plans, concerns was the state guidance of the 3 feet distance apart in classrooms. And so there, even though our classes were actually set at 4 to 4.5 feet distance with the 10-foot distance from the first row of desks, we certainly listened to the staff, and they would like to see the 6-foot distance, which was the CDC. And so we rearranged the plan to include and incorporate the 6-foot distance. So again, although the state of Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education said a minimum of 3 feet, we are going with the 6-foot model. And obviously that means possible additional staff. That may be a consideration, as well as classroom and scheduling considerations.
Jamie?
Mark, the other thing too is I really like the way that there's freshmen and seniors together, because the second half of the year, the seniors will be out a little bit earlier, will allow more focus on the freshmen that are trying to finish out their first year, that they get additional help and more space in the school. So I really like that whole combination. It works well, I think.
Dr. Pacone?
Yes. Heidi, have you spoken to other vocational superintendents around the state to see whether or not your plan and their plan are mirrors of each other, or is everyone have a different plan?
Every Thursday, every superintendent in the Commonwealth at 2 p.m., regardless of what we are doing, gets on a Zoom call and discusses the plans and the alterations to the plans, what they are doing for the plans. So many vocational districts have opted to go full remote academics. We chose not to. So Whittier Tech and us, and there may be a couple others, chose to do part academics live. And I think the biggest thing that our kids really missed and the teachers missed was the connection that they make. So one of the concerns, or I don't want to say complaints, but concerns for the kids being remote is that they couldn't raise their hand and ask a question and then having that eye contact with them. So we really felt that from a relationship perspective, but also for school counseling, it was really important to be able to have that live contact. So and that's just a good point to put in, is each of our offices, guidance, school counseling offices, because they may be dealing with a one-on-one situation, will have the acrylic shields in front of them. So we have purchased over 50 of those right now for different offices. And we are awaiting a quote for some additional acrylic, depending on teachers' comfort level of being in the front of the room. And some of them may prefer an acrylic wall type situation as a barrier.
And didn't we also go 9 feet from where the teacher is to the first row of desks at the teacher's request?
So 10 feet we
10
are
feet.
at, I believe right now. And Dr. O'Toole, I don't know if you could confirm. So Tom, you don't have a microphone.
So the first thing we did when we went into the rooms is we had a 6-foot pole with us, a flag pole, and we moved it around and found out how far to the student to the left, how far to the student to the right. But when we went to the front of the classroom, where the teacher would be standing, if we did the 6-foot rule there with the front row of students right there, the teacher would basically have one tile square to stand on right on the whiteboard. So we had to build in a 10 to 11 foot buffer or space so that the teacher could step back, have 3 or 4 feet to write on the whiteboard, see the full what's being written, and then turn and talk to the kids. So that was the idea, and also to create just that other level of comfort with the teacher in the front of the room as well. So it was sort of for a couple reasons that we looked at it, and that's what we did.
There's another, just as a point of reference, once we get the model determined, we will actually do, we will be rearranging classrooms, but we will also call the fire marshal as well as the Department of Public Health to do an inspection of this space to be sure. In addition to that, once the model is selected, each vocational area, so we have classrooms which are pretty consistent in what they look like, but each shop is unique. So we are really going to be looking for the individual shop teachers to work with the vocational directors to plan out what their space looks like. The CTE directors yesterday actually sent a survey to the CTE teachers of what types of supplies or equipment may you need in addition to the existing in order to make sure that you have enough supplies and materials on hand. In addition to that, every shop, we purchased 25 electrostatic sanitizing machines for every vocational program area. So on top of the ones that we have for our maintenance and custodial crew, we also have every shop to do that, knowing that they're going to be handling tools very differently than an academic classroom with their Chromebook. We also are awaiting a contract. Right now, we have an outside contractor that cleans what we call C building, which is this space as well as the main office area. But we are looking at having that done. We're waiting in a contract right now for additional cleaning, deep cleaning when students are not here. We also sent a memo to our maintenance and custodial crew that we will be changing the shift time from a 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. start time to a noon start time, because what that allows us to do is it provides additional staff in-house when the kids are here, but then also directly when the kids leave for us to start the deep cleaning. We also have a couple what we call porters, where their sole position will be to be cleaning and sanitizing any contact surface like door handles. So in the main hallway areas, door handles, etc. If you notice, the governor's budget or the state budget last week looks somewhat promising. So we may be getting some additional funds, and the federal government is looking at possibly releasing additional funds as it relates to COVID. And at that time, we will be looking at bringing on additional staff as temporary workers. So I think it's important to recognize that this is a temporary challenge that we have right now. And so the additional staff that we will be hiring, we just posted for a nurse on an hourly basis. So we have 2 full-time school nurses. We will be looking for an additional nurse to service other areas of the building. And so those staffing considerations are being done at this time based on available funds that come to us. We have also, in writing some of the grants, have built in some of those additional cost factors into those grants.
Any further questions?
We have a question from Mr. Grant.
I have a
Mr.
few
Grant?
questions, Mark.
Go right ahead.
I was wondering what the contingencies are in the event that teachers get sick.
So we're following in our plan. There is a link. Again, I am not a professional healthcare professional, so I do not want to answer that question without having it in front of me. But in the plan, there is a direct link to what the Massachusetts DESE guidelines are for not just staff members, but also students, and what those protocols are. I can tell you that obviously we reach out to the Department of Public Health. And again, the guidance is in the plan.
I'm thinking in respect to having, substitute teachers or somebody to step in already a really difficult teaching situation.
Thank you. Yes, we are actively seeking substitute positions as well as temporary workers. We're hoping that either individuals that are fresh out of college and are, in education classes, obviously. And then also any retirees or newly retired. I will say that if somebody has to self-quarantine, and it could be a variety of reasons. It could be market basket. I mean, it's difficult to say what evidence there is to say that a student here got somebody ill, or if when they were at the market or walking, their dog. But if they do have to self-quarantine and they're asymptomatic, they could teach remotely, provided obviously that they're not experiencing any illness or circumstances.
Any further questions?
I know Alexander.
I had a few questions.
Any further questions?
Yes,
Go ahead, Alex.
thank you. I guess related to what Chris said, and I'm not sure if this is delineated in the link that Dr. Riccio spoke of, but in case a student or staff member does contract COVID and is tested and is positive, is there a protocol for, does that shop class go full remote? Does that, like, how does it affect the rest of the student body and the hybrid model if somebody does test positive?
So again, not having that protocol that's in place by the state, but it would be impacted based on whatever the Department of Public Health. So when we contact the Department of Public Health, they also provide additional guidance of whether or not the class self-quarantines or the teacher self-quarantines. So if that is the case, if they all need to say quarantine, then and they're asymptomatic, then we would provide remote learning opportunities.
Okay, and my other question was, I know you've put in a lot of effort for, keeping the students distant and the teachers in the classroom and in the hallways, but is there going to be any kind of monitoring in the hallways in terms of between classes, keeping students from bunching up even though they're supposed to stay 6 feet apart, or near the lockers, or will there be any kind of oversight to keep kids behaving between classes when they're not in the classroom?
That's a good question. So keep in mind, we only have one class of academics happening in a hybrid model, and so that reduces the number of students significantly. We also have admin team that will be present in between classes. We have security officers that are already existing associates or employees, and we will be hiring temporary workers, hall monitors, if you can think about the old hall monitor situation, but they would be also monitoring the hallways as well.
Okay, and yep.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, and just my last question is, I guess related in terms of, is there going to be any kind of contact tracing put into place? Keeping track of who's next to whom on a given day?
We will have student assignments for each of their desks, so the names will be on there. So everything will be pre-assigned in the classroom setting, as well as any public space area. So if their mask break is in the media center, those desks would be labeled with the name of that student on them.
Alice, did you have a question?
Would go twice a week. The others would go 3 times a week. In second semester, you split.
Alice, go ahead.
Yep, sorry. Just a quick question on, it's kind of minute, but the bathrooms, how are you monitoring use in the bathrooms?
We have Smart Pass, which is an electronic pass system, and for us, or actually they've made accommodations for all school districts, but it will prevent a child, if there are too many people in that area that have been given a pass, they will prevent that pass from actually initiating.
Got it, thank you.
I did also want to state, I know you talked about contract tracing. I also want to make a point that when teachers sign on, much like Kathleen Holman, our Director of Human Resources, created, along with Joe St. Pierre, a COVID survey. And so when teachers sign in every day, just like any other staff member, they need to complete that survey. And so they are taking their temperature at home, and they have to report, are you experiencing any illnesses? Is your temperature over 100? And so that is an expectation that our staff will also have when they enter the building.
And that's every day.
Every day,
Every
yes.
day.
Yep.
Any further questions? Val, go ahead.
Thank you, Mark. So
You're welcome.
So what will be the protocol for the school to be communicating to the families what the trends are? Like, is there going to be a special group with the 2 nurses to provide the data of how things are going, and if there are any cases, and where are those students being quarantined? Just kind of a proactive communication so parents can feel like they know what's going on. You guys are great at this type of communication, but relative to COVID, it would be helpful to know how you plan on doing that.
So as you know, we do have HIPAA guidelines that we need to follow. So we will provide as much information as we legally can based on that HIPAA, but we also, I'd like to say that our staff, whether it's teachers, maintenance, admin, are communicating minute by minute on any new information that is given or any guidelines. So yes, we will continue to do that. The health, as I stated earlier with the action teams, now that we have a fairly secure plan that we submitted to the state, and then we will submit our final plan by August 10th, we have asked for additional staff members to be on the action team, and then the 2 nurses will also obviously be working closely with the facilities team as well as our Director of Human Resources to make sure that that nurses station is properly equipped, because even the Department of Public Health has information of how to set up a nurses station. And then we have, I don't know if it's called a decontamination for lack of the proper terminology, but we are purchasing another tent that will be used for a child that does need to leave the building due to illness.
Thank you.
Any further questions? At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the fall reopening hybrid model 2 as presented by Dr. Riccio, Principal Donnelly, Assistant Superintendent O'Toole, with the understanding that the situation.
So moved.
Second, further discussion. Roll call vote, please, Lisa.
Before the roll call, Mark, I'd just like to make a comment. I just want to say thank you to Heidi and her administrative team for, there are no textbooks, there are no research documents we could look at how to deal with the pandemic. I think you're doing a great job. And I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you and your staff have done. So.
What's great is that many of the questions that everybody on this committee today have asked were already asked the other night by parents. Mm-hmm. So everybody is curious about the same things, and which everybody answered wonderfully the other night. It was a very successful, lengthy meeting. Can't say enough about it. So roll call vote.
Mr. DeLuna? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Markey?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Lannon? Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana? Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins? Yes. Dr. Pacone?
Yes.
Ms. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Bucco,
Yes.
Mr. Strout.
Yes, thank you very much. And it's a vote, and it's probably the most important vote we've taken in a long time. So thank you to everybody for your patience and your questions. Can't thank you enough. Now, the next item, revocable license agreements. Do we need to do that again, or?
No. So
Yeah.
what was actually there, and we can decide if we want to vote today, but our attorney, Tim Norris, we sign a contract every year with them stating that we're going to provide another year of service under their assistance. And one thing that came up with Marie was a question of whether or not who had the right to sign any contracts. So by practice, it was either myself or Marie Zamorowski. However, in documentation that they had, only the chairperson of the committee could sign any contracts. So what we would like is, obviously, if it's a lease agreement, we bring it forward. Something like this revocable license agreement, we bring it forward. But a contract, for something that we're purchasing, or services that we're purchasing for professional development opportunities, kind of general contracts, we would like permission from the committee to be able to sign that as a designee to the school committee chair.
I just have one comment on that. And obviously we do a lot of contracts, and in most contract, it states you have the authority to sign. So this is very important that Dr. Riccio has that authority to sign, and it's in the minutes and it's in our records.
Is there a motion? Oh, go right ahead.
My question is you definitely have to delineate who has which authority. Is this something that also needs to be put into policy as well?
I would imagine it does.
Okay, so if we take a vote, I'm imagining today it would be more of a general vote, and then I think we would need to refer it to the policy subcommittee, and probably with the assistance of Attorney Norris to craft a good statement on that, just in case you ever had to refer back to that with any type of a contract.
But I think before we vote, it should go to policy first. Right?
I agree.
Absolutely. So I'll entertain a motion to have this go to policy.
So moved.
Second, further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Marquis?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pacone?
Yeah.
Ms. McDonald?
Yes, and
Mr.
unfortunately,
Sims,
just to let
excuse
you
me,
know, I have to sign off it after this, so wanted to let you know not to include me in the roll call going forward.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Take care. Good job, everyone.
Mr.
Thank you.
Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, thank you, and it's a vote. Anything else?
Mark, I just wonder for now, we're trying to finish up these contracts for the beginning of the school year, and where the policy committee is not going to be meeting for a while, that we shouldn't allow her to move, Dr. Riccio to move forward with this particular contract until the policy is set, so she's not tied up with not being able to move forward in September.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there further discussion? Roll vote, please.
Mr. O'Brien, can you read the motion again, please?
Yes, I make a motion that we allow Dr. Riccio to sign the contracts that she has brought forward with us to North Shore Community College, so that she won't be held up while the policy committee discusses this.
And there was a second?
Yes, there was. Yep. And the policy committee, subcommittee meets again on October 15th.
Right, so that's too long.
Yep, right.
And who seconded, please?
Beverly.
Thank you. Mr. DeLuna? Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Marquis?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTiplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins? Dr. Pacone? Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Thank you, and it's a vote. Yes. Anything else?
So the only other thing that I would like to do on record is to thank the administrative team, the maintenance and custodial crew that have been working nonstop since March, you know, kind of thinking about bringing kids back. I would also like to thank everyone for a wonderful graduation that we were able to initiate and implement last Saturday morning. It was a special day to have the kids back on campus. And I would also like to thank the Hawthorne Federation of Teachers as well as AFSCME for working with us. And as we continue to develop the plan for opening of school, and all of the students and parents who have reached out to us either in support or asking clarifying questions, because every question helps us improve the plan. So I just wanted to publicly thank everyone.
Might you have another virtual meeting now that the school committee has voted? Because the other night, a lot of the questions you said we can't answer because we don't have the model yet.
Exactly. We will be having, so the action teams that Dr. O'Toole said meet weekly, we will now be upping those meetings to either daily or twice a week, depending on that model or action team. And we will be hosting additional Zoom meetings for staff, students, and parents. So anytime that we send out a caretaker Zoom call, we would anticipate that students would also be on that call, and there were the other day. And then obviously teachers and AFSCME members. So in fact, we had an AFSCME meeting, Zoom call meeting for the transportation unit today to kind of discuss what transportation is going to look like. So we will continue to have those Zoom meetings. They were actually very helpful, I think, for us in kind of evaluating the plan and anticipating questions, but also I think for them to feel a little bit better kind of about our plan.
Thank you very much. Principal Donnelly, school calendar change?
Yes, so we have yet another school calendar change. You'll notice at the beginning of the calendar, we've accounted for the 10 days of staff PD required by DESE. So our first day of school for staff was moved from September 1st to August 31st. And school students would now begin on Wednesday, September 16th. That's the only change. That's a big change, but it's the only change reflected in this calendar.
Is there a motion to approve the revised calendar with the updated first day of school?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there
Second.
discussion? Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. DeLuna? Mr. O'Brien? Mr. Marquis?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pacone? Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, thank you, and it's a vote. Principal Donnelly, anything else?
Yes.
Take your time.
Joe, if you can put my presentation up. I just have a quick, as Dr. Riccio already mentioned, graduation was held on Saturday. If you follow us on social media, you've probably seen some of our pictures, but I wanted to share a few. for those of you who may not follow us. So we had about just about 310 of our seniors attend. We also had dozens of staff members who either volunteered to help with setup, photographs, checking students in when they came into the ceremony, with breakdown after the event. I can't say enough about the facilities, farm and grounds team and the administrative team who helped to prepare for the ceremony. You can move the slide for me, Joe. Every graduate was spaced 6 feet apart and were able to sit with the 2 guests that they were able to bring. So it was a really nice change for us. Usually we put all of the graduates together, but it allowed most graduates to sit with their parents or other family members. And again, you can see they're in little pods of 3, all 6 foot distance. Quite a bit and the lines were straight. I know. They said the server went down. One of the servers went down. Am I good?
Yep,
Okay.
go ahead.
So as you know, with COVID, there are some policies that we need to put in place as well as addendums in our handbook as it relates to face covering. So one of the questions that came out through HFT is what are the kind of repercussions for students that refuse to wear? So we're going to make it obviously perfectly clear that there is no refusal. You know, this is a policy, this is an expectation, much like we expect them to come in prepared to learn every day, prepared to have their uniform in their shop area. So it is a policy. So there are a few different policies. Also, if you've heard about the Title IX harassment policy that has changed, and that goes into effect nationally September 14th. August 14th. August 14th. So that policy also needs to be put into our handbook as well as documentation. And then the COVID NSAT overall face covering policy, that also is going into our faculty and staff handbook because it is an expectation for our staff as well.
So the policy subcommittee met before this meeting today. The policy subcommittee unanimously approved number 8, Title IX sexual harassment grievance procedure. The next one on the next page, non-discrimination and harassment. The next one was the civil rights grievance procedure. And the last one was the Title IX handbook language. And I asked Attorney DeLuna as to whether or not we could vote on those en masse instead of having a roll call vote for each individual one. And he said, yes, go ahead. So I'm relying on Attorney. Well, whatever. Thank you.
Disclaimer.
So could I have a motion to approve the Title IX sexual harassment grievance procedure, the non-discrimination and harassment procedure, the civil rights grievance procedure, and the Title IX handbook language procedure? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Could we have a roll call vote on all four of those, Lisa?
Mr. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Markey?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman? Ms. Lannon? Mr. Lannon, excuse me. Mr. Lannon?
Seen it? Yeah.
Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Ms. Shana? Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins? Dr. Pacone?
Yes.
Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, and it's a vote. Thank you. The next one on the agenda is the NSAT's face covering policy, and I think Dr. Riccio pretty much explained that in our many questions about the Model 2 reopening about face masks. So can I have a motion to recommend the approval of the NSAT's face covering policy?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Markey?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman? Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins? Dr. Pacone? Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, and it's a vote. Thank you very much. The next agenda item is COVID-19 student handbook addendum. Principal Donnelly?
Yes, these are just some guidelines related to our return to school. So an update to our attendance policy that allows for a parent note to excuse an absence for a student rather than a doctor's note. This is a request from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. In addition, for the attendance, we'd ask that students are online in a synchronous format in order to be counted as present. It also includes protocols around the masks, which align with the mask covering policy or face covering policy, and bus protocols, which prevent students from taking additional buses. So they're only going to be allowed to ride their bus to and from school and not ride a separate bus to go to a friend's house. This would allow us to maintain that 23 students to a bus.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Markey?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman? Mr. Lannon? Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. LaTeplo?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins? Dr. Pacone? Mr. Bucco?
Yes.
Mr. Strout?
Yes, and thank you, and it's a vote. The next agenda item, bylaws governing the operation of the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School District. This was discussed in the policy meeting earlier this morning, and basically there was no vote taken. It was, could everybody please just look at the bylaws before the next meeting on September 10th, and we'll be voting on the bylaws, which have to be voted on yearly, correct? Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so that's just informational. The next school committee meeting is going to be September 10th. Personnel will meet at 5 o'clock. School committee will meet at 5:30. Is there any old business to be brought before the committee?
Hey, Mark?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to go back to the bylaw vote. It was my understanding that it would be voted on by policy in October 1st and then to the full committee?
You're
rather than the full
absolutely,
committee.
yep, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Alex. Okay? That was my mistake, sorry. Old business, is there any? New business? Discussion items that were not reasonably anticipated by the chairperson. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who joined us virtually. Greatly appreciated. I know it was a lengthy meeting, but probably one of the most meetings we've had in a long time. I want to
Thank you.
thank everybody for their input. Stay well and have a great day.